You use the term body-mind, and I'm not real clear on what that is. Is it? I've taken it both ways. Body-mind is one thing, or you're using it as two, the mind and the body. So what I'm looking for is an understanding of what you're meaning when you say that.
Well, if you want more precise definitions, let's try to go for it. I'm not sure it will make you happier, and I'm afraid it will be a little boring, but
well, if you could just give me a drink and I knew, then we could move on. But you're using a term that I don't understand what the term
what
is.
mind would be the phenomenal content of our human experience. Okay? In other words, since we can remember, we were born, right? The breast of our mother and the taste of the milk and whatever. Since that moment, and everything we have experienced phenomenally, whatever we have heard, whatever we have seen, whatever we have touched, whatever we have tasted, whatever we have smelled, and whatever we have experienced in our bodily sensations, when we had a sore throat, a flu, etc., and whatever we have thought, all the images in the mind, all the dreams we have ever had. All of that is the phenomenal content of our human experience. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so that would be my definition of mind as an experience, the phenomenal content of our human experience. Now, the body is a concept which is a model, if you will, that explains the how can I say that? The interconsistency between all of this content, at least in the waking state. What I mean by that is that, for instance, if I see my left hand and my right hand, right, that's visual sense. That's one aspect of the content of my my mind, right? Visual perception. And then if I touch each other, I have a tactile sensation, which is consistent with this image moving, of the two objects moving together and then touching each other. So there is interconsistency between various aspects of my mind. And this interconsistency is what defines for me the physical world. Okay? And the physical world, so being defined as such, there is a subset of this physical world with a special kind of interconsistency within my mind that will be my physical body, right? For instance, the example I chose, the consistency between the image and the tactile sensation when I touch my mind, or the consistency between me drinking a little too much champagne and then my mind being a little different, right? There is also a consistency between the taste of champagne and the champagne glass and the bottle and the feeling of swallowing that, and later on so that points towards, so a model to explain that, this consistency, is there is an external world, and within this external world there is a human body called Francis. And then, between the human body called Francis and the mind, there is also an interconsistency between these two, right? By definition, in fact, of what I call the human body, as a subset of mind. So that's why I use it becomes legitimate to use the word body-mind, although it may be more accurate to use the expression body-mind-world.
Body-mind-word?
Body/mind/world. World, right? Because it's a kind of go together. Experientially, they go together. So that's why we place them together.
So basically all phenomenal, and then the mind, which
body-mind is our phenomenal experience, and the body is part of it, the mind is part of it. They seem to be interrelated. They are interrelated, in fact, by definition of the body as an experience, and of the mind as an experience, and of the world as an experience.
And all of that exists in consciousness.
That's all what?
All of that exists in consciousness.
Yes, all of that appears to the other aspect of our human experience, which is no longer the noumenal aspect, but the phenomenal aspect. That which perceives all of that. Not the phenomenal aspect, but the noumenal aspect of our experience, that which perceives all of that. Consciousness. So consciousness is the noumenal aspect of our human experience. So the phenomenal aspect of our human experience is divided in two parts: the subjective part and the objective part. The subjective part includes our thoughts and our bodily sensation. And the subjective part is not subjected to the intersubjective agreement. Meaning that the subjective part of our human experience is not subjected to the intersubjective agreement, meaning that two human beings agree about it. For instance, the flower here are subjected to the intersubjective agreement, because you and I could agree that they are yellow and that they are roses and that they are like, I didn't count them, but a dozen, just at random. And so any object in the physical world is of this kind, subjected to the intersubjective agreement. However, your thoughts are for you, for your eye, mind-eye only, right?
Yes.
Your bodily sensation, your pain, your pleasure, for you only. So that's what I call the subjective part of our human experience.
I would even say it's even more subjective, because I don't see colors. They've told me this. I see colors different than other people would say this is yellow.
Yeah,
okay.
No, we agree. We don't.
So it's very subjective.
You don't see the same thing as I do.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, we can talk about it. So.
But we're both talking about it.
So that the physical world, the physical realm, is this part we can talk about from experience.
Subjectively. Because
We experience everything subjectively, but
except
among the
consciousness.
things we experience subjectively, some of them we can share, others we don't really share. So the ones we can share are the physical world. Right?
Yes.
And so, yeah. I don't know where I was trying just to.
I didn't pick that up.
I don't know where I am right now. I was just trying to
No.
be
I got a feel for what.
to be rational, to be logically correct. Or yeah.
Well, sometimes when you, because I haven't been here that long, so sometimes when you get into a certain something and they're using terms, I need to get a feel for the term. Otherwise,
of course. So body mind, to
nonsense.
reiterate it, body mind, what I call body mind, is really the phenomenal aspect of our human experience.
Including the mind and the thoughts,
Yeah.
memories, so forth.
Yeah. And they are tied together experientially by the interconsistency between various senses. Also that the interconsistency between the thought, I can think hand and then look at my hand, you see? I can say, oh, where is my hand? And say, oh, here it is. Right?
But the thought is not the hand. The thought is
where
the
is
thought.
my hand?
Yeah.
So
that's all defined separately from consciousness this moment. What's hearing you talk, as you say.
So body-mind, I was trying to explain why I use body-mind together,
Right.
because of the interconsistency between the element of a subset of our human experience.
Okay, makes sense.